how to build a down and dirty sump. Something you can do on the cheap that works, that's going to allow your tank to overflow, and of course, you know, filter through and get back into the tank like it should. It's pretty easy to do with a lot of little spare parts. And first, you need an extra tank. I happen to have this old 20 long that's sitting around, hasn't been used for anything other than being a sump at some point. What you need is, you know, a tank that fits the size underneath your stand. In this case, this is actually a little small for the tank I'm going to be doing it on. I'm going to do it on a 150 gallon, but the stand is really slender and I can't fit stuff under it, so it's going to have to be this one. So as you can see, it's just an old 20 gallon long tank. I have a pump and a box that the pump goes in. The only reason the box goes in a pump, or the pump goes in a box, is to keep detritus and garbage from getting stuck in the pump. That's all. Then there's lava rocks, and the lava rocks help filter, and I'm going to scoot those all to the end because I'm going to stick this bucket in there. This bucket, I've cut a hole in the top so that the drain tube can go in, and I've cut 2 holes in the sides of it. And so the bucket is going to go right in here like this. Obviously I'll get the lava rocks out of the way, but the drain from the tank will go through the lid into that bucket. That bucket will be full of those dollar store pot scrubbies. The water will then flow into the bucket, out of those 2 holes, into the lava rock, and then the water will flow over into the pump return box. And that's it. So in order to get the water out of the tank and into the sump, I have this thing. So we got these in a donation, but you can build this with a PVC pipe, and you don't have to have this box. The box is convenient because it's already built to hang on the back. But anyway, water will flow through an overflow tube. It's just a little U-shaped tube that goes over this way. The water gets sucked up, it goes into the box, it drains down the tube and through the tube into that bucket, and then the pump will just return the water, and that's it. And what happens is that as fast as the pump flows is as fast as the water will overflow. So as long as your overflow can handle as many gallons out as your pump can push, then you never have to worry about it overflowing or anything like that. Also, the siphon will stop because of the way the box is set up. The siphon will actually stop if the water level gets too low. So it's a pretty cool thing, and I'll show you once it's set up how it works. Okay, so day 2, and I broke my tank. Problem is that it would not fit underneath the 150 with the rim on it. So I was taking the rim off because it would fit in just fine without the rim. The rim was just 2 millimeters too freaking thick. So I was taking the rim off, and I don't know, I got a little testy with it, and I broke the freaking tank. So we are going with plan B. A little intermission moment. So guys, we're a rescue, and we bust our butts all the time. We're working all the freaking time to keep these fish alive, to allow people to be able to bring fish in that they aren't able to keep. So we're always putting up new tanks, and we're always looking for places to adopt fish out. And the way you can help us the most is just make sure that you're subscribed to our videos, hit the like button, send a comment once in a while. That stuff really helps. So if you do us a favor, just check right now and make sure that you're subscribed, because lots of people come and view but don't actually hit the button. Really help us out, and it helps us to continue doing what we're doing, and it helps us to eventually get the channel to a point where maybe it actually makes a little bit of money, so that we're not footing the bill for everything all ourselves. Really appreciate it. Just please hit the little subscribe button, and once in a while send a comment, hit a like. Everything would be great. Alright, so I'm in my little workspace here now. And first things first is build an overflow. I'm going to make a siphon that's going to go between this bin and a bin just like it. And basically what we want to do is come up high enough to go through the lid and stay just at the bottom, and still be able to go down the other side. It's really pretty easy. But basically, you're going to want the top of the PVC pipe to rest right on top of the PVC, or right on top of the lid. And have a little bit of space here so that water can flow through. So, it might actually be a little long there. I can shorten up this bit. Hold yours, kids, it's going to be loud. Okay, so that's our first piece, and it is just about perfect. So we need another piece exactly the same way. Alright, there we go. 2 pieces of 2-inch PVC, perfect length. Alright, so the next step is to cut a little bit of an angle on 2 of these ends. That way they can't get clogged up as easily. So, get those set notches in there again. This time we'll rotate the angle. We really don't want to waste a lot of PVC because we just measured and it's right. So that should do it. It's not much, but it's enough to keep the bottom off the bottom and it lays flat. Do it again. Alright, now we got 2 of the same. Alright, so now we need one more piece. And it needs to only be about, probably 6 inches long. Back to square. Alright, it's no wonder I'm freaking deaf, right? Oh, so. Now this gets assembled like so. And that is a siphon between our 2 bins. And it'll drop in like this in one and drop in like this in the other. Water will flow back and forth between the 2. So now we have to drill holes in the 2 bucket lids, or the 2 bin lids. We'll use a hole saw that's big enough for the pipe to go through. And that will give us that way we can keep the lids. That way we can keep the lids on the bins, which keeps garbage from getting in them, as well as still have the water overflow. And your first thought is you want to drill the hole right about in here. But you don't, because this edge actually gives this lid a little stability. So we're going to drill a hole over here. That's one. Now, pop a lid on here. It will lock down. It locking down helps because that gives the bin a little more stability and it doesn't flex as much when there's water in it. And that'll drop right down in there. And that'll drop right down in there on our other bin, and they'll sit right next to each other. Water will overflow from one to the other. Now one of these bins is going to receive the overflow from the tank. It's going to come in here, it'll overflow into the other bin, and the other bin will be the return bin with pump it. So we need to cut a hole for our overflow pipe. It's going to go right in here, right next to this. Alright, so overflow pipe will come down from the tank into this hole. The siphon will go in this hole, over into the other bin. We have a good start. Alright, now we have to cut one more hole in this bin. This is one with only one hole in it. And that's the hole for the return hose, so the hose can go back up to the tank. You're going to have to use a different size bit for this. I think I dropped it over here a minute ago. Yep. Actually, that might be too big. Let's go with a smaller one. Alright, well the only smaller one I have is a glass bit, and I don't feel like doing that, so the hole for our return, we go right here. Okay, let's go set it up. Okay, so I'm still using the same components that I was using before when I was using the 22 long. And the only difference is that I've replaced the 22 long with these two bins, and I've added this siphon. I added the siphon because I'm using two bins, and I want to be able to make sure that the water level stays the same in both bins. So, this is going to be our return box. No, I take that back. This is going to be our in box. So it needs the one with the two holes in it. It'll basically, water will flow into this from the siphon. It is hanging on the back of the 150 up here. And this is going to be our return box. And it's going to get our return pump, which will drop right in there. I may actually have to cut another hole here to get the plug through. So, yeah, let's do that before we do anything else. Alright, so I've added a hole. I didn't think you really needed to see me do it. It's not like you can't drill a hole yourself. Okay, so now the plug for the pump can run through that hole. It's a long freaking plug. That'll drop right there. And then the hose that goes onto the pump will go through here, and the siphon will come in here. So, kind of to show you how this works. Well, I may have to deal with this box a little bit. It might be too wide. Yep. It is. So we're going to go ahead and dispel the pump. We don't really need it, or the box for the pump rather. It's a convenient thing, but it's not going to fit in without bowing the sides, I don't think. Let's see, will our lid still fit on there? Oh, by golly, it might. Well, box is just good protection from the pump. It's not all that necessary, but it keeps extra garbage from getting into the pump. Fortunately, I think this box is too big. So, on the other hand, without the cover, it fits just fine. Indecision, guys, indecision. I think we'll leave it just like that. Okay. So, take this out so you can see what's going on here. This is our return tank. This is our inbound tank, and it's full of lava rock. And once it gets under there, we will have the siphon. I'm going to have to take some rock out of here to make this work. Got to move rocks around so the siphon has a place to drop in. There. Now the siphon will drop all the way to the bottom, and it will also drop all the way to the bottom there. There's our siphon. So, water comes in this hole, runs through the siphon over into this bin, is pumped out by the pump, back up to the tank. That's simple. Down and dirty, really easy sump. This will get more lava rock in it once the siphon is primed. This will get more, or we'll get a whole bunch of mechanical filtration and things just to kind of keep the water cleaner before it goes back up. And that's it. Really easy. I think I may actually rotate these. And this side of the bucket will be on, or this bin will be on this side, and this bin will be back in the darker part back there. So there's our makeshift quick sumps. All right, so here's a quick trick. Got a couple of these oversized tetramine bottles. Cut them in half. Now you've got cups for the ends of your siphons so that your siphon always stays primed. It's pretty easy. All you do is take it, stick it down in the bottom of the bin where your siphon is going to land. And now your siphon will always be sitting in water so that in the event that the bin empties out, you still have water in the cup and your siphon doesn't lose its siphon. Works really well, stupid easy, unless you knock the bar off. I still have to glue those apparently. Okay, so here's our outbound hose. This gets plugged into the pump. I have a UV filter sterilizer that came along with some pools we got at one point, and it's just a hose, except it runs through the UV sterilizer. And all we do with this is just run through this hole in the box right here, pop it onto the pump, and it will be ready to return water. I'll clip it over the back because that's clipping it over the back is going to be the easiest way to deal with it at the moment. I will do something better later, but for the time being, we're just going to pop this lid back, get the hose properly installed on the pump, take a little finesse. And there she is. Slide it down. Flop. That's it. Okay, so other than our filter media, these are now ready to go. So first things first, hopefully this was going to be our inbound tub. So we're going to put it in, slide it back. There she goes. And then we'll put our outbound tub in here. there. Get our siphon in place. Yeah. So great. Knock stuff around. Got to do it again. Sometimes that happens. I may end up siliconing this cup to the bottom so this doesn't happen anymore. Alright, so here's another little tidbit. Priming a siphon can be a pain in the butt when it's a big siphon like this. So what you really want to do is make a little hole that you can fit an air hose through. You can put the air hose through, and you can suck on the air hose. That'll draw the water up into the siphon, and you don't have to be concerned about it all the time. Now, you do have to close off the hole, the air hose, once you're done. So what I like to do is just keep the air hose long enough and I can just drop it down into the water. No problem whatsoever. Alright, now once you're through, you can take your air hose. You may have to actually kind of pitch it, make a little triangle out of it, and jam it into that hole. I'm actually going to try and open it up a little bit. Kind of make a triangle out of it. It's a practice thing. To get it right though, you can squeeze it into a hole that's a little too small. It's going to be a weird angle though. Alright, and it's in. That's all. Just make it easier to prime. So, now for our overflow. As you saw outside, it's just two boxes. One of the boxes has some slits in it so water can flow into the blocks. And then we just have another siphon that is identical to the big siphon we built down below. Only this one is 1-inch pipe instead of 2-inch pipe. And what will happen is water will flow into that box. The siphon will carry it over into the box behind it. That will flow down. That will flow down that gray pipe, which runs into our bin. Then it'll siphon over from there to there, and then our pump will pump the water right back up again. I got to cut that hose shorter, but you see the general idea. Okay, so here it is working, guys. It's kind of loud right now. I've got a little adjustments to make, but there's about 5 inches of water in it right now, and 5 inches of water in that one as well. And water is overflowing from here to there, and then the pump pushes the water back up, and we have a perfect overflow system going on. Works out great. You can see it's overflowing into the box, and then of course that's continuing to overflow back in there. I don't know if I can get a video of it. And the tank is staying nice and clean, and the fish are all happy, and that's what we want.